She had revealed her kingdom not with a declaration of war, but with an invitation to dinner. She had traded revenge for revelation, bitterness for boundary setting. And in doing so, she hadn't just gotten a better room. She had finally come home. "You did all this," Ryan said, shaking his head. "And we put you in room 142. Ashley set down her wine glass, the sound sharp in the twilight. "Kate, I am so sorry. I thought I was being practical. I thought you wouldn't care about the room quality. Because you never seem to care about." She struggled for the word. "Appearances?" Kate offered. "Yes. And I was wrong. It wasn't about the room. It was about me making a decision for you. A demeaning one." "It was," Kate agreed. "But thank you for saying it." Aunt Linda reached over and squeezed Kate's hand. Her eyes were shiny. "We see you now, honey. And we are so incredibly proud of you. We should have been proud all along. We didn't know to look." The conversation flowed into the velvet night under a canopy of brilliant stars. They talked about family memories, about future plans, about everything and nothing. The hierarchy had dissolved. Kate was no longer at the bottom, nor was she on a distant, resentful throne. She was simply in the center where she belonged. Later, after the last cousin had wandered back to the North Tower, tipsy and happy, Kate stood alone on her terrace. The lights of the resort twinkled below, a jeweled grid of order and beauty she had willed into existence. The soft roar of the ocean was a constant, soothing heartbeat. Her phone buzzed. It was the family group chat. "Ashley, thank you, Kate, for an unforgettable evening. And for your grace. I'm sorry, from the bottom of my heart. You're an inspiration. Red heart." One by one, messages followed, echoing the sentiment: apologies, admiration, love. No pity. No condescension. Just raw, unvarnished respect. Kate smiled, a full, unburdened smile that reached her eyes. She looked out at the Caribbean night, at her creation, at her family finally seeing the truth. And long tables elegantly set for 40. Her personal chef, Miguel, whom she lured from a 3 Michelin-starred restaurant in Barcelona, presented course after exquisite course: ceviche with edible flowers, grilled lobster with vanilla-infused butter, rum-soaked passion fruit tartlets. Wines from the resort's exclusive cellar, which she had spent years curating, flowed freely. At first, the atmosphere was stiff, laced with residual embarrassment. But as the stunning food and the even more stunning view worked their magic, the old family dynamic began to reassert itself, but softer, kinder. Ryan was the first to break the ice. "Okay, I have to ask. The startup. The one you sold. What was it?" It was an app for independent hotels to manage their back-office operations and direct bookings, Kate explained, sipping her Sauvignon Blanc. "I built the first version in my senior year. Sold it 2 years later to a major travel conglomerate." "For how much?" Jessica asked, then immediately blushed. "Sorry, that's rude." Kate smiled. "It's fine. Enough to buy my first distressed property outright and have plenty left to transform it. That was the Sea Glass Inn in Barbados. It's still one of my favorites." And so, she told them. Not boastfully, but with the passion of a true creator. She spoke of the thrill of finding hidden gem properties, the agonies of renovation, the joy of hiring the right team, the philosophy of service that was the bedrock of the Sapphire brand: discreet, anticipatory, never flashy. She talked about the challenges of being a young woman in a male-dominated industry, the satisfaction of proving doubters wrong, and the importance of building a company where employees like Marcus and Alara felt valued. They listened, rapt. They asked intelligent questions about sustainability initiatives, about marketing, about dealing with hurricanes. The condescension was gone, replaced by a genuine, dawning awe. "I am still the owner," Kate said, a hint of steel returning to her voice. "And I will be staying in the best accommodations my property has to offer. The ones that cost $12,000 a night." $12,000. Ashley choked out the number. "I deserve it," Kate said simply. "Not because I own it, but because I am a guest here, and every guest deserves to feel valued. You are welcome to enjoy your suites. Enjoy this beautiful place. But from now on, you will include me." Not because I sign the paychecks, but because I am your family, and I deserve the same baseline of respect you automatically extend to each other. Uncle Tom, his bluster gone, stepped forward. Kate, we're so sorry. We were idiots. Snobbish, small-minded idiots. The apology was clumsy, but it was real. Kate nodded. Yes, you were. But you're also the people who showed up for me when I had my appendix out. Who helped me move apartments. There's history here. Good history, buried under a lot of this. She waved a hand at the tense scene. Ashley bent and picked up her fallen clipboard, her hands trembling. Can we start over? Can you tell us? About your business? Really tell us. Kate looked at their hopeful, chastened faces. The presidential suite awaited, a sanctuary of solitude and supreme luxury. She could retreat there, let them marinate in their regret. But they were asking. For the first time in her adult life, they were genuinely asking to see her world. She made her decision. Tonight, she said. Come to the presidential suite at 7. I'll have dinner prepared. There's room for everyone on the terrace. You can ask me anything. The sunset that evening was a slow, breathtaking fire. The sky bled from gold to tangerine to a deep, resonant violet, reflecting in the still waters of Kate's private infinity pool. The terrace of the presidential suite was the size of a small banquet hall, furnished with deep, comfortable sofas, hanging egg chairs. Every thread count in those sheets you loved so much. I designed the spa you booked. I hired the chef you raved about. And you, my own family, using a discount I authorized, decided the person who built it all belonged in the smallest, most modest room on the property. Aunt Linda sank into a plush lobby chair, her hand over her heart. Oh, Kate, we didn't know. We had no idea. You didn't ask, Kate said softly. You assumed. You've always assumed. That quiet Kate with her cute little job couldn't possibly have built this. She gestured around the breathtaking lobby. The weight of their collective oversight pressed down on them. The gloating texts, the patronizing comments, the unspoken hierarchy they'd all accepted, it all curdled in the brilliant Caribbean light streaming through the windows. Derek cleared his throat. Miss Summers, your instructions? Kate looked at them, her family. Flawed, sometimes insensitive, but still hers. The anger was still there, a hot coal in her chest, but beneath it was something else, a weary sadness and a fierce, unyielding hope that maybe, just maybe, this could be a new beginning. No, she said finally. A collective, hesitant breath was drawn. Let them keep the suite upgrades. Restore the resort credits and the breakfast. They can stay in the North Tower. Relief washed over several faces, followed immediately by a fresh wave of shame. They were being spared, and they knew they didn't deserve it. But Kate continued, and the room stilled again. I will not be staying in room 142. Derek, please have my belongings moved immediately to the presidential suite. In the private, owners-only wing. A soft gasp rippled through the family. They'd all seen the brochure. The presidential suite wasn't just a room. It was a legend. A private villa atop the resort, with its own infinity pool, a rooftop terrace, a personal butler, and a price tag that made even the oceanfront suites look modest. Their expressions were a tapestry of shock, dawning horror, and utter confusion. Miss Summers, Derek said formally. I have executed your instructions. All room assignments have been reverted to the standard group rate accommodations. The complimentary amenities have been rescinded. Shall I proceed with having the Bell staff assist your family with their move? Every eye was glued to Kate. The power in the room had irrevocably shifted. Ashley looked like she might be sick. Jessica's earlier arrogance had melted into pale-faced shame. Ryan, always the most blunt, found his voice first. So, you're punishing us? Because of the rooms? By taking everything away. I'm not punishing you, Ryan, Kate said, her tone measured. I'm giving you exactly what you booked and paid for. A standard room at a 40% discount, which is a significant courtesy. The everything you're losing was a gift. A gift I chose to revoke when I saw that the person who arranged this generous deal had decided the gift giver wasn't good enough to receive it herself. She looked directly at Ashley, whose face was now crimson. You texted everyone that I didn't mind a lesser room. You decided I didn't qualify for the luxury you were all enjoying because I'm single. Because, in your words, it was more my speed. We didn't mean it like that, Kate, Jessica whispered, her voice small. How did you mean it, Jess? Kate asked, not unkindly, but with a relentless clarity. When you said I'd feel out of place in the fancy suites. When you all agreed I was content with less. What did you think less meant? Less success? Less taste? Less value as a person because I'm not part of a couple? The questions landed in the silent lobby like stones. No one had an answer. I own this resort, Kate continued, her voice gaining strength. I bought this land when it was a failing 3-star hotel. I invested $12 million of my own money into every tile, every beam. Near a potted palm. He gave her the subtlest of nods. I have investigated the matter personally, Derek said, pulling out his tablet. And I must clarify the situation. The Summers family reunion block was indeed booked at a generous discounted group rate. However, the suite upgrades you received were applied in error. They were unauthorized. Unauthorized by who? Ashley demanded, hands on hips. Derek took a breath, his gaze sweeping across the faces of Kate's family. By the property owner. The owner specifically requested that all complimentary upgrades for this block be revoked. A stunned silence fell. The only sound was the gentle cascade of water from the lobby's indoor fountain. The owner, Aunt Linda finally whispered. Derek's eyes locked onto Kate's. He extended a hand in her direction. The owner, Miss Catherine Summers. For 3 full seconds, nothing happened. The words simply hung in the air, refusing to compute. Ashley let out a brittle, disbelieving laugh. Kate? Don't be absurd. Kate doesn't own anything. She works in hotel management. Derek didn't flinch. Miss Catherine Summers is the founder, CEO, and sole owner of the Sapphire Collection. This includes Sapphire Bay and 10 other luxury properties across the Caribbean and Central America. The clipboard slipped from Ashley's fingers and clattered loudly on the marble floor. Jessica's recording phone slowly lowered to her side. Uncle Tom's mouth was agape. It's impossible, he stammered, looking at Kate as if seeing her for the first time. You drive a Honda. You dress like... He trailed off, helplessly waving a hand at her sundress. I do drive a Honda, Kate said, her voice clear and steady as she walked forward. The family parted for her like the Red Sea. It's a very reliable car. And I buy my clothes where I like them. Neither of those things has anything to do with my net worth or my ability to run a company. She stopped beside Derek, facing her family. Kate put her phone down. She took a moment, applying a coat of clear lip balm and smoothing her hair. She needed to look like she'd been rudely interrupted, not like she'd orchestrated a coup. The scene in the lobby was better than she could have hoped for. It was a masterpiece of collective indignation. About 15 of her relatives were clustered around the front desk in a furious, gesticulating mass. Aunt Linda's face was flushed. Uncle Tom was jabbing a finger at the placid but firm Alara. Ashley was waving her printed confirmation email like a legal writ. I have it right here. Congratulations on your suite upgrade. This is a breach of contract. I deeply apologize for the inconvenience, ma'am, Alara said, her voice a model of calm. There was an error in the initial room assignments. The suite upgrades were not officially approved for your block. Not approved by who? Ashley shrieked. I spoke to a manager. I have a name. I want to speak to the general manager. Uncle Tom boomed, his voice echoing in the high-ceilinged lobby. Other guests were beginning to stare, some with amusement, others with irritation. We are a party of 40. We deserve respect. At that moment, Derek Patterson emerged from the administrative corridor. He was in his mid-50s, impeccably dressed in a tailored navy suit, his bearing radiating authority. The crowd instinctively quieted. Ladies and gentlemen, he said, his voice deep and calm, cutting through the noise. My name is Derek Patterson, Regional Manager for the Sapphire Collection. I understand there is some distress regarding your accommodations. Some distress. Jessica stepped forward, her phone held aloft, its recording light a tiny, accusing red eye. You're moving us from 5-star suites to